Welcome to the Bullring on Track TV and Racing America. I'm Jim Tretow. We talk all things short track racing, and tonight I think you'll enjoy the program. We have a lot of great guests lined up for you and some racing highlights to boot. We're going to be talking to Jade Avedisian. She's the winner in the Cars Pro Late Model Stock Tour. We're also talking to ASA Platinum Driver and Rookie of the Year contender, George Phillips. We'll have the most recent winner of the ASA Stars National Tour, the Appalachian Sucker Punch 250 winner at Dominion Raceway, Cole Butcher, on the program. And a special guest lined up because he's appearing at the ASA Midwest Tour opener on Sunday afternoon, May 4th in Wisconsin at Madison International Raceway. We have NASCAR Hall of Famer Mark Martin on our show tonight to help us preview his trip back to the Badger State. I got a chance to call the ASA Stars race at Dominion Raceway in Virginia. First time there. It was a great facility and a great race. When we come back from the highlights you're about to see, we're going to talk to the race winner. Here's how it went down at Dominion Raceway in the Appalachian Sucker Punch 250 in the ASA Stars National Tour.
It's the Appalachian Sucker Punch 250 presented by Jones Utilities. Carson Brown and Ty Fredrickson lead us to the green flag.
Coming through the field is the 16-year-old, as here's a battle up in the field for fifth. Into the top five goes Cole Butcher. Fredrickson now for second.
Getting pretty racy. Ty Fredrickson here working his way up inside of Bubba Pollard, and Francis sees the door and runs right through it in the 33.
As the field slows for an accident that takes place, and it's George Phillips. His run through the field that was impressive. After qualifying 19th, had moved up into the top 10. Here's another look, but you watch him go into turn 3 right now. Steckley tries to get down. Phillips is already there, and Sauter pushes Phillips because he has nowhere to go, and Matt Craig is there as well.
The inside line was full as that maneuver by Steckley is trying to get back to the inside and paid the price as well as he spun to the inside. Lap number 89 is when we restart this race with Ty Fredrickson taking us back to the lead at green flag. Under caution here at Dominion Raceway for the stalled car of Derek Kraus. As this now ends the stage. The stage one ends, and awarding the victory in stage one and the $1,000 divided up between the top three, thanks to Holly Performance, goes to Cole Butcher, Ty Fredrickson, and Gavin Boschel.
And we're just checking in. Nobody has taken right side tires just yet. It's the question everyone's asking, why haven't you guys taken tires?
We just think it's too early to put tires on now. We got another stage break at 200. We'll see if we make it that far here. I see some strategy mixed up here, so I just think it's too early. I'm going to have fresh rubber at the end.
Here we go, back to green flag racing at Dominion Raceway. Jake Garcia and Bubba Pollard to decide who leads us into turn one.
They were leaning on each other a little bit before the start, and they almost do again in two. Garcia into the lead. Here's Pollard dropping in line in second. And best running position tonight for Caden Quapple in the 32 up to third.
With the CRA Super Series.
Gavin Boschel off the pace, bottom of the racetrack, exited turn number 2. Point leader, Gavin Boschel. And Cole Butcher is coming pit side under this yellow flag.
We saw Bon Sus getting busy. John Ramos, you're busy down there as well as Butcher's in.
Yeah, they're in. They're going to bring the Hoosier tires out, this time on the left side of that number 28. We do see a donut over on this side. Not sure if it's from this event or maybe a previous race, but you definitely see that left rear all torn up with the Hoosier tires coming off. Brand new ones coming on.
Coming to the green flag, back to racing, and Bubba Pollard's off the pace, and a big stack up. A big stack up as we come to the green flag. Our race restart leader, Pollard has an issue.
But right now it's under that left rear. That's what they're looking for to see if they can fix this Phoenix construction Ford.
We're back to green in turn 4. Carson Brown, Jake Garcia back underway. Less than 100 to go from Dominion.
And Garcia's making that freight racing number 35 work up top.
Did you see how he took a real high entry into 1? Maybe that's the trick to make that outside lane work. Cole Butcher moving the 81 of Brown over just a little bit. A nudge that took place a half a lap ago to move the 81 over. He takes the spot away, and the winner of event number 2 is looking like one of the favorites late in the going of race number 3. Cole Butcher coming to the front. And we have a lead change because while we were giving the pit report, Cole Butcher said, I want the number 1 spot. I want to lead some more laps. And he's out front by 3 car lengths over Jake Garcia.
Stage 2 ends. Brought to you by Brackley Roofing, and Cole Butcher picking up another $1,000 bonus and those 10 extra points towards the season championship.
They are ready to put all 4 Hoosier tires on that car. You can see the left side's ready to go. They go back to the right side.
Back to the green flag. Cole Butcher will restart lead here. Down to the final 45 laps to decide it at Dominion. Easy pickings now for Derek Thorne. Again, waiting till lap 203 to change 4 tires in that Appalachian Sucker Punch Chevrolet for Highlands Motorsports.
So we're watching right now the 2 cars with fresh rubber, the 96 of Thorne. We saw the 81 of Brown as well. They both are back inside of the top 5. Thorne, I think, is good enough to get up there and work on Garcia for sure for second.
Here comes the Derek Thorne charge to the inside of Jake Garcia. Gaillard Garcia's got a really good piece. The 4 fresh tires and the experience of Derek Thorne is paying off big time.
Cole Butcher leading the way. The lead has grown a little bit again. The newness on the Derek Thorne tires maybe now kind of wearing off. Thorne has lost a tenth or 2.
Down the back straightaway comes Cole Butcher. From Nova Scotia to back-to-back victory lanes, Cole Butcher wins at Dominion Raceway. The Appalachian Sucker Punch 250 presented by Jones Utilities.
Yeah, I can't just thank my team enough. We were pretty good when we unloaded. Knew we had some work to do, but it was just track position. This place is so hard to pass. Cannot thank the competitors enough for racing each other clean. I know everybody had a little bit of doubts in us, but I think everybody did a great job. So congratulations to them.
And we're now joined by the winner at Dominion. Man, it was such an impressive run, the Appalachian Sucker Punch 250, won by Cole Butcher. And Cole, you're on a roll, man, winning 2 out of the first 3, and that was a dominating run, we thought. How much work was it to get in position to get that lead and race off to victory?
It was tough. Track position was key the whole weekend, really. If you moved up even half a groove, you were a tenth or 2 tenths slower, and it was just impossible to pass. So Bond made great calls, and he basically said whoever's leading the final stage is going to win the race, and that's kind of what happened.
When it comes to that racetrack, a lot of thought was it's going to be a one-group track. What I did see was a lot of respect on the racetrack. It's something you alluded to in Victory Lane on Track TV, that we had a clean race. It was hard to pass, but there was not a lot of rooting. I didn't see a lot of, there was some contact, yes, but I was, as a viewer and a commentator, I was so impressed by how the massaging of the different scenarios and how those guys were coming through with fresher tires late to get to you almost. I was really impressed with the racecraft. Were you as well as a driver behind the wheel getting through the field or having cars that may be going a lap down give you that room and respect?
Yeah, I know, like, earlier in the day, we were all getting criticized that we were all going to be too aggressive and people were going to get hurt, but I think the track was just so fast that you had to be cautious if not somebody was going to get hurt or it was going to cost somebody a lot of money. So, yeah, I think there was a lot of respect out there. I think there was really only one big wreck, and it was unfortunate that George was involved, but yeah, I thought everybody did a great job. I think nobody really drove over their heads, and I think that's kind of what showed at the end of the day.
And Cole Butcher, one of the puzzle pieces to learn is the experience you have with Donnie Wilson Racing now in your 3rd season in the ASA Stars, specifically longer than that with them, racing really high-profile super late model races. But that track, Dominion Raceway in Virginia, was built in 2016. It's one of the newest race tracks that I'm sure I've been to and you may have raced on. There's only one little bump at turn 2. So how'd you get that advantage? How'd you learn the nuances of a new track and get the advantage on getting that car right when it came to race time?
We were fortunate to test about a month or so before, so I feel like we had an upper hand on the rest of the field. And then when we came back, we just had a really good package. We didn't qualify as good as we wanted. Track was a little bit slicker than we all anticipated, but I feel like the race kind of just went our way. We made the right calls. We didn't really make any mistakes, and we were the best, one of the best cars at the end.
Easily, and I want to talk about the end because there were 2 cars that did wait late. The last stage ended on lap 200 of 250 laps. They had waited that long to get their tires. Your tires were slightly older, and they came from 10th and 9th to 2nd and 4th at one point, and they were closing on you. But guess what? Once Derek Thorne got to 2nd, you were pretty much right where you needed to be because his tires were done being the best ones on the field. You saved something, or it was just a matter of the pace you had that he couldn't catch you?
We were doing a little bit of both. It was really hard to pace yourself, I thought. When Jake was behind me, I just had a really hard time pacing myself because he'd keep closing up and I'd have to run hard for a couple laps. So I thought it was easier when Derek got into 2nd because I could just match his pace and it was a little bit quicker. So I found it was easier. But yeah, we still had a little bit in the bag. I just think track position was just so key. When we lined up on that last restart, they were 4 or 5 rows behind me, so they had to pass all those cars while I was out front. So I think I definitely think that clean air is more important than fresh tires.
On a half-mile racetrack, you mentioned Jake as Jake Garcia. We know there's 14 full-time drivers in the ASA Platinum program and ASA Stars, but it's so cool to see a truck series driver like Jake Garcia and Ricky Turner with the Freight Racing team race as much as he can with the series. And he was very complimentary as well about how tough it was and how clean the racing was. It's kind of neat we have those opportunities to have drivers from all sorts of disciplines, including locals, get a shot to race in the Stars. How much fun do you have racing with different guys instead of the same guys now every week?
It's fun. Jake shows up once in a while. Kane Honeycutt will come race when he can. You Chase Elliott's once in a while and those guys. So it's just fun. It's just a little different to say you beat the Cup guys or the Xfinity guys or the truck guys. So, yeah, it's just cool when you get to race up against different people and just learn from them.
All right, Cole, bad news for the rest of them. We're heading to Hickory Motor Speedway next, one of your personal playgrounds, and it's written in stone that you got probably 11 or 12 trophies out of that place, including the most recent win of the ASA Stars last May. We're heading there next on the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour on Thursday night, May 22nd. Your thoughts about what to do, what to change, and tackle a racetrack that you've won at and know so well?
I think same thing. Keep the tires on it. I'm not really sure how this tire is going to react to that racetrack. But definitely love the place. I love the history. I love the track. It just has so many different characteristics, and I seem to know how to get around the place. They're just little spots where you just got to know where to put your car. So I'm definitely looking forward to going there. I know the competitors are going to be tough. Carson Brown's been tough all year. Gavin's been tough. Bubba's going to be tough. So it'll be interesting when we go there, but definitely looking forward to that race.
Yeah, you mentioned George earlier about getting caught up in an accident. He was racing in the 6th or 7th, I believe, at the time. You have another young teammate in Gavin Bushell who had a car that was fast at times but was not on pace with you. And it's kind of interesting how that plays out. Yes, it's Donnie Wilson Motorsports, 3 of the best cars that show up at any race. And as those things play out, how much are they gauging on you? How much are you helping them? And especially at a new track like Dominion for all of you, how is that interaction and working together played out at Dominion and going forward?
I feel like we all kind of look at each other's notes and go over things. I kind of put George in my corner. I really like George. He's a fun guy. He's really into it, and I just like to surrounding myself with those types of people. So he's a great family, great spotter. He's just a great kid in general. So I've been working with him really close here the past couple of weeks. So yeah, it's just cool. Gavin's tough. Gavin's there for one reason, and that's to win, and I respect that. We kind of have the same mentality when it comes to that. So yeah, they're going to be tough competitors all year.
When it comes to racing ASA Stars National Tour, there's a bit of a break in this schedule. What will take your time up with your young family? You're going to do some family time, or what's in the plan? Maybe at a racetrack to watch or race between now and May 22nd when the Stars race at Hickory.
We'll head to Pensacola and Mobile this coming weekend for the doubleheader, and then we head to Nashville May 4th. So we'll get 3 or 4 races in between there, but definitely spend some time with the family. Enjoy this nice North Carolina weather, and just enjoy life.
So we get to see the Blizzard race on Friday night, April 11th at Five Flag Speedway. Saturday night at back to Mobile for a back-to-back ASA Southern Super Series races. Cole Butcher's in both of those. You get to see him on Track TV and Racing America. Does that mean you're going to be racing for the Southern Super Series title too?
As of right now, we are. I mean, if something comes happen, we might change our mind. But as of right now, we're going to be contending for the Blizzard Series, the Southern Super Series, the ASA Stars National Tour, and then we'll throw in some other miscellaneous races here and there. But so far, that is the plan.
Always a threat. You guys are on top of your game right now. I want to say thank you for your time tonight. Congratulations on the win at Dominion in the Appalachian Sucker Punch 250. And Hickory's on the schedule next for the ASA Stars. But you can get to see Cole Butcher, as he just told you, on Friday night, this Friday, April 11th. We're talking about Five Flag Speedway. And Saturday night, we're talking about Mobile, back-to-back ASA Southern Super Series races. Cole, we wish you the best of luck there. And I have a feeling we'll be talking to you again here on the Bullring. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
And you'll be able to catch all of the ASA Stars National Tour races live on Track TV. The Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour heads next to Hickory Motor Speedway, North Carolina. It's on Thursday night, May 22nd, the Ross and Whitmer 255, live on Track TV. More to come on this edition of the Bullring in a moment.
NASCAR is returning to the historic Rockingham Speedway for 2 days of racing you don't want to miss. Friday, April 18th, the Black's Tire 200. See the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in person. Then a doubleheader on Saturday, April 19th. First, Arca Menards Series East. And then the North Carolina Education Lottery 250 presented by Black's Tire. Witness Casey K make his big return as he races in the Xfinity Series. Be at the only NASCAR Races Easter weekend. Buy your tickets now at racetherock.com.
Career path in motorsports or searching for something new in your racing journey? Racer Jobs is your destination for providing the most current job openings from top racing teams, manufacturers, sanctioning bodies, and suppliers. Whether you're a budding race engineer, a seasoned mechanic, or a marketing ace, we consistently refresh our listings with new roles that could meet your ambitions. Looking for a great candidate as an employer? Then tap into our Racer Jobs audience and database to find that perfect candidate. Go to racerjobs.com today.
Welcome back to the Bullring, where all things short track racing are discussed, and we talk to the stars of all sorts of series. We love short track racing, and the ASA Stars National Tour has a lot going on for it this year. We've got some great new talents, and we also have a driver joining us now that is part of the ASA Platinum drivers roster that's going to be at every one of the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour races all season long. Let's welcome in Pepperjack Kennel's Rookie of the Year contender, George Phillips. George, thanks for joining us here on the Bullring.
Hey, thank you, Jim, for having me. It's really a pleasure and honor to be on here.
When we talk about getting this chance, I saw you for the first time last year when I worked the Snowball Derby. You were racing a Pro Late Model in the Snowflake, working with a team, and now you've got a chance to race with Donnie Wilson Motorsports. Talk about the transition and the focus now to go full-time Super Late Model racing in 2025.
Well, the translation has been great. I love the Wilson Motorsports guys. They've just been great to me. And this is my first ever year in a Super, so I'm still trying to get used to it. Learned a lot from everybody. They've been teaching me a lot. My spotter Pockets, he's been great. Definitely got to stay focused in the Super Late Models because usually a lot of them are 200 laps, and it just takes a lot of endurance and just a lot of preparation to get ready for it.
As a rookie, driving with Cole Butcher as a teammate, as Gavin Bushell is also a rookie, racing for Donnie Wilson as a teammate. I also know you've actually consulted and kind of get knowledge and involvement with Bubba Power. Last year I saw when you were racing a Pro Late Model at New Smyrna Speedway, Bubba was really with you. He watched you during practice. You follow him on the racetrack now. I saw you taking a few laps behind him at Dominion. How has he been helpful in getting you up to speed with the Super?
Well, he helped me a lot last year in the Pro with when I ran for Fathead. He's helped me a lot, helped me win a couple test days. Bubba's just great. I really love working with Bubba. He's a true legend in Super Late Model racing, and it's just a pleasure to get to know him and him helping me.
When it comes to racing this schedule, there's 12 races on the ASA Stars National Tour schedule. How many races are you going to get to run this year, George?
I'm gonna be full-time running all of them. I can't wait to run all these races. I feel like I can learn a lot from them. I'm just so excited to see what this season holds the rest of the season.
And this week, a big announcement. There's a race at Hickory Motor Speedway. It's no longer the Tar Heel 250. Your family business is going to get behind that race at Hickory. Tell us about the exciting news about a new race sponsor in ASA Stars.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. It's my dad's heating and air conditioning business, Ross and Whitmer, and I can't believe it's the Ross and Whitmer 255. We did the 55 at the end because 55 has just always been my number, and I've just always loved that number. So, well, we decided to do that, and I think it's just a really awesome sponsor for the race.
That race is coming up on Thursday night, May 22nd, a Memorial Day weekend. The Ross and Whitmer 255 on Track TV. George, I can't help but wonder, I'm sure people are all zooming in and getting closer to their devices. What are you doing in that room, and what's all going on in there?
Well, this is, I call it my museum. I've been working on it for 10 years, and it's got all my NASCAR memorabilia. It's got old school, new school. It's got some of my trophies, banners. It's got everything, and I still work on it to this day.
What are some of the highlights? What are some of the things you just are like, man, if I could tell you a story, I'm sure a lot of stories are told by those things in that room, but Tell us maybe about a couple special items.
Well, there's one item that's absolutely super special. It's the original cast of the Coca-Cola 600 trophy from Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was one of two, and I think it was the first one ever made. And here it is, right here. This is it.
Wow, that's it. You're right.
That's the
wow.
And look, the top comes off too.
Well, that's nice for like snacks around the holidays when you have company over.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm kidding. So you're 16 years of age. How caught up and how did you get so caught up in the history of motorsports, not just collecting, but living and breathing the idea that Curtis Turner, the NASCAR legend, is one of your heroes?
Oh, man, I look up to him so much. I read about him, watch about him. I really look up to him. Just the way his style of driving was just incredible. And I watch and read all about old racing stories. I just appreciate the history. And I'm really good friends with Humpy Wheeler. I actually went over and visited with him yesterday.
Humpy Wheeler's a longtime executive. He was at Firestone. He also spent many years, decades, working at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So all those theatrics you saw at SMI tracks, all the wonderful events, the memorable events around the racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Humpy Wheeler had a lot to do with that. And Bruton Smith, man, those guys were quite a tandem. And I understand you got a chance to spend time with both of those guys the last several years.
I have definitely talked with Bruton a lot. Bruton's just a great guy. And with Humpy, his Firestone stories are the best ever.
Firestone was involved in NASCAR racing and IndyCar racing, and he was going all over the place. But I really want to say how special it is knowing that you care and they care about telling you stories. And I have to tell you, your mom told me that you would ride your bike to their house, ride your bike to Humpy's house, and just pop in and say, "Humpy, tell me a story." That's got to be kind of cool to have that kind of access and that kind of living history that you now take such pride in. That's pretty cool.
Yes, sir. I'd ride my bike over there all the time, and I'd spend hours in his house. Oh, what? I wasn't in there just to pop in and out. I spent about 3 to 4 hours like each day just talking about racing, and he's just so fun to talk to. He'll talk about anything.
All right, we're going to take one more look at your room, take a look around here. There's a lot there, and you're saying there's room for more? What's next on your target list, whether it be something from 50 years ago or last weekend's race at Dominion Raceway with the ASA Stars to put in there?
Well, we're trying to get a lot of trophies here this year, and trying to fill the room up with some more, and that's just the goal.
And George, when it comes to this passion, are you among friends that do this, or are you the only 16-year-old that you know that said, "Man, the coolest thing I have was a trophy from 1960 when they opened the place at Charlotte Motor Speedway, or when they finally designed that trophy, and I've got one"?
Well, I feel it feels amazing for me being 16 years old, having an original trophy, and I don't know somebody else that has it, so I'm just incredibly blessed to have something like that. It's a prized possession.
Your quarter midget was the King Richard Petty 43. Your race car has had 55 on the door, and now you take over the ride that Gio Ruggiero moved up from, I would say, going full-time the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. With Donnie Wilson Racing, he had a lot of success in the ASA Stars. Any pressure, any difference in what you're thinking and what he built there with Dennis Dean and the crew to help you get to where you are?
Well, not necessarily pressure. I just feel like going out there and doing the best I can each time and learning from my crew chief and all my team and my spotter and everybody who helps me. The expectation is to learn as much as I can, get better, and gain experience.
When it comes to new tracks, what have you done as part of your regimen, part of your training to get ready for Dominion Raceway or Newport, Tennessee, where the ASA Stars is headed on Saturday, May 24th?
Well, the thing I study is I got to go test there and see how the track is before we get there, so I can already have a kind of a glimpse of the racetrack. So before I get there, and we did the same with Dominion.
What are your thoughts about Hickory Motor Speedway? Yes, the family's involved. Yes, the company that your family's part of is sponsoring the race. Have you had laps around Hickory? Are you going to get there a chance to get some laps before the race weekend?
I've had a ton of laps around Hickory. I've been racing there since my rookie year in the Pro Late Model. That track is just absolutely awesome. I love it, and it's 50 minutes from me, so a lot of my fans, it's kind of feels like home to me. It feels like I'm coming back to race at home again.
Yeah, you're racing across the country, and it's going to be nice, isn't it, to just kind of be part of that and just go, you know what, I'm going to get up at this time. I don't have to worry about getting there a day early, that kind of thing. Is it fairly new to you, or have you done a lot of traveling in your racing?
I've done a lot of traveling in my racing. Ever since the quarter midget days, we've been traveling all over the country.
Who all is the we in that process to get you to where you're racing with Donnie Wilson, racing one of the best teams in Super Late Model racing right now?
I've traveled a lot with my mom and my dad, and my little sister has been there since day one, and she's really, really into it. And wherever we travel, she travels because she's just so into it and she loves it.
All right, does she have sports that you have to support, or is she just going to the racetracks to hang out with you and mom and dad, or how does that balance work when it comes to teenagers doing things and not always just about racing?
She runs track and cross country, and actually I was at her track meet tonight, and she won 2 conference championships tonight. So I was really, really excited. I gave her a big hug, and I was just really, really excited to see her success as well.
Oh, man, that says a lot about how you guys approach things. You do it the right way. You've got great people around you, and that success that's really impressive. I want to say congratulations on behalf of all of us as well that she's knocking down conference championships, and who knows, that Rossa Whitmer 255 trophy, man, I know it's going to be a good-looking one. Wouldn't that be cool to put in that room?
I can't wait. I would love to have that trophy in my room. I feel like it'd probably be the best trophy I've got.
Hey, George, thanks a lot for your time tonight. We'll talk to you again. And by the way, when we have ASA Stars races on Track TV, we have a slot for you when you win your first one and your next one after that, because every time we have this show, it's after an ASA Stars race. We get the winner on the show. We hope to talk to you again very soon on the Bullring.
That sounds perfect. I can't wait.
George Phillips, thanks for joining us tonight on the Bullring. Good luck at the Rossa Whitmer 255. It's on Thursday night, May 22nd on Track TV, the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour race, the family sponsorship, and George is back behind the wheel of that number 22 Rossa Whitmer Toyota. Thanks, George.
Thank you.
History was made by Mark Martin in the ASA National Series. He won 4 ASA championships before racing onto a NASCAR Hall of Fame career. Mark Martin will join us next here on the Bullring, talking about his return to Madison International Speedway and the ASA Midwest Tour season opener Sunday, May 4th. The Joe Shear Classic. More to come with Mark Martin next on the Bullring.
NASCAR is returning to the historic Rockingham Speedway for 2 days of racing you don't want to miss. Friday, April 18th, the Black's Tire 200. See the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in person. Then a doubleheader on Saturday, April 19th. First, Arkham Menard Series East. And then the North Carolina Education Lottery 250 presented by Black's Tire. Witness Casey Kane make his big return as he races in the Xfinity Series. Be at the only NASCAR Races Easter weekend. Buy your tickets now at racetherock.com.
Calling all race fans. We have launched a new travel site where the race fans can enjoy free savings and upgrades on all of their travel needs. RacerTravel.com is free to join and unlocks unpublished bookings and rates for our racing community. Up to 50% off on more than 1 million rooms across the U.S. and Canada with unpublished discounts on hotel bookings. Unlock a hidden selection of hotels and rates that cater to your travel preferences. Whether you're heading out to the track as a competitor, fan, or anything in between, use Racer Travel for all your race, business, and vacation travel needs.
They said I wouldn't make it without a college degree.
They said only a man could be a roofing executive.
They said a former addict always relapses.
They said my amputation would keep me out of roofing.
They said never give an ex-convict a second chance.
They said I could never be a leader.
They said I couldn't support my family as a single mom.
At Rackley, we say they're wrong.
Want to change the world? Change it. One roof at a time.
Welcome back to the Bullring. Four-time ASA National Tour champion Mark Martin now joins us. And Mark, you're heading back to ASA land and back to Wisconsin for the Joe Shear Classic on Sunday afternoon, May 4th at Madison International Speedway. Welcome to the Bullring, Mark.
Good to be with you.
I'm excited because I am about 8 miles due west of Jerry Gunderman's ASA shop, where you won your most recent ASA championship in 1986. That's where I get to hang out every day. I drive by that shop all the time, and man, are the memories coming back knowing you're coming back to Wisconsin. What are you looking forward to coming back to Madison, Wisconsin on May 4th?
Seeing the Wisconsin race fans. I always love it. Have a really special place in my heart for, the Wisconsin racing, the competitors that taught me how to race. In 1977, my first year racing on pavement, I went to Wisconsin in the summertime because I could, in 1 week, I could get 2.5 months worth of racing in, racing, 6 times a week. And it just, it was just the foundation that my career was built on. I lived 3 years in Wisconsin, and I actually lived 3 years in North Liberty, Indiana as well. So I was right up there the whole time, did a lot of racing up in Wisconsin. And, people like Joe Shear and Dick Trickle, and Dave Watson and Tom Reffner, these guys were they were my peers. They were my, superiors. They were adults, and I was this kid coming up to get to learn the ropes, and they taught me.
What was it like racing against Joe Shear? I know this race is named after him, but man, he's one of my heroes for sure.
Joe was, racing against Joe was a lot like probably racing against me when I got a little older. And Joe was a fierce competitor, but you never had to think twice about fairness. He was a fair racer. There was a code that we had to race by in Wisconsin, and you raced by that code, and you never had a problem. I'm sure that Joe and I rubbed fenders once or twice, but I don't remember it. There's never a memorable moment, never a questionable move that Joe Shear ever made in all the years that I raced with him.
In that foundation, with what you got to race against and race them, you won 5 times at Madison International Speedway in ArtGo, which is Greg McCarnes, who owns the track now. His father started with Art Frigo back in the mid-'70s. ArtGo and ASA racing, that prevalent amount of races each year were longer races. You actually won a 300-lapper there in an ASA race at Madison. Just thinking back to those times and those memories and those long-distance races, that really must have had you set up for your first opportunities in NASCAR, wasn't it?
Yeah, the ASA ran a lot of 300-lap races, a lot of 200-lap races, and some 400-lap races. And so, it forced us to develop a good pit crew, pit stops and whatnot. And Bill Davis from Batesville, that worked for my dad at the trucking company, was recruited to be the gas man, because Bill was big, a big old boy. And, I'd have a couple of tire changers that were, Banjo Grimm, of course, and one other that could do a good job on that. And we'd get a good jack man, and we had good pit stops. We had good enough pit stops that I took those same guys to Martinsville, in a cup car, and we led the race for around 40 laps and finished third. I think Darrell Waltrip won, and Harry Gant ran second, and I ran third. So we took our ASA guys, nobody that had ever, before 1981, none of my guys had ever even been in the pits of a NASCAR race, including myself, before 1981. So it was an amazing time. And not only that, but Rex Robbins and all the guys with ASA took the time to teach me. They took me to the radio stations. They took me to the TV stations and taught me how to promote the sport and promote myself. And all those tools were very useful when I got to NASCAR.
And we're so appreciative of you spending the time tonight with that passion still burning very brightly in terms of supporting racing and supporting where you are going to hang out with a bunch of fans on Sunday, May 4th at Madison International Speedway. The gates open at 10:45. The Mark Martin autograph line will be there well before that because you're going to start scribbling at 11 a.m., racing at 2 on Sunday afternoon. You get I think, the command to start engines, too. This will be pretty exciting to watch and be part of. Have you done something like that before?
I think I have. It's not as memorable as winning a race, but yeah, I think I've done that a few times. But this is going to be, it's going to be so much fun. It's been a long time since I've been to Madison. I also want to get around and check out the competitors. Things have changed a lot. I love the cars. I've always had a passion for pavement late models, and I'm very curious kind of guy. I like the nuts and bolts of those cars. So it's going to be fun for me to spend a little time in the pit areas and looking at the cars and seeing the competitors. I follow it. I'm probably going to be pulling for Dalton Zier. He was my next door neighbor when he was a little boy, and turned out to be a great racer. And so, I may be pulling for Dalton, but I know a lot of these guys and know a lot of, about them. I watch, watch many of the races I can, streaming and whatnot. So, it's going to be fun, really to spend personal time with these fans is really, really important to me because they support the sport in Wisconsin, especially. They support racing like no other place I've ever been, no other state I've ever been. It's amazing, and I'm so appreciative of the time that I had up there racing.
And prior to you going to NASCAR with Jack Roush, there's a lot of ASA racing that was in the past, but also you came back to get recharged and win a championship in ASA in Wisconsin. And a lot of people are still hanging on to that Miller American number 2, the white and red car with that gold leaf number that Jeffrey Fenning took hours and hours to make sure it looked perfect on the side of that door of that race car. There's a lot of folks that are still very fond of those memories, and they are like yesterday for most of us, including me. It's really cool to know you're coming back to Wisconsin just to share that with us again on Sunday, May 4th.
Yeah, pretty cool. And it's funny you say that. I'm at Lance Lander's race shop here in Batesville, where they field Jonathan Davenport's late model dirt car, and they just showed me the roof. We have the roof off that car that won the ASA championship in 1986. Scott Hansen brought it down to Kenny Schrader, and Kenny Schrader brought it here, and so now it's here. It's going to hang up in my new shop, so it's pretty cool to have. But that was a beautiful car. It was great times driving for Jerry Gunderman, working with Jimmy and Jeffrey Fennig, and we had a fabulous, incredible volunteer crew and team, just an army of guys that supported us. And, we fielded Bobby Allison's car, his late model, out of that shop as well. There was a wall between Alan Kowicki and I, but he was in the same shop on the other side, and we were battling for an ASA championship with him. So that was pretty interesting times, but yeah, it was just so many great memories.
All right, I've been in that shop probably 9 times over the course of Ted Musgrave driving there, Bobby Dotter driving there. Of course, I got a chance to see cars that they set up for you when you came back and raced the Minnesota State Fair in the ASA race on Labor Day weekend. Was there a peephole between those two shops in the wall, and who put it there, you or Alan Kowicki?
I don't know that anybody put that hole there. Okay. I'm sure Alan didn't put it in there, but there were like stairs to go up to a mezzanine where there was storage, and there was a hole in the wall that you could see over into Alan's shop if you went up to the mezzanine, and so that was pretty interesting. And yeah, I've looked in there before when I was going up. Of course you couldn't see anything really, but you could see that Hooters Thunderbird sitting over there on jack stands. But yeah, I didn't put it there, but I did look through it a couple times.
Hey, if we could spend one more minute with you talking about Madison International Speedway and the importance of what that track and what Mark Martin tied forever because there was an accident. You were involved in an accident during a race at Madison. Your car turned to the inside of turn one. Bob Strait got into your driver compartment, and you had a lot of injuries from that accident. We're looking at some pictures now of the sequence of what transpired there, and the outcome of that was a revolutionary addition to a roll cage that's been there since. Tell us about what you recall about the day that you got involved in a pretty serious wreck at Madison.
So it was twin 50s or twin 75s, and what I recall is maybe I won the first one, and they would invert 12, for the second one, and so I was coming from 12th, and had to go pretty hard when you're racing against guys like Shearer and Trickle and Watson and Jim Sauter. So when I caught Sauter, I was wasting no time at all, and I caught Jim Sauter going into 3 and dove in there, probably optimistic wise, and Jim, pinched me down, and so I tagged him and of course tried to stay left, not to spin him, and it didn't, but I spun myself, and Bob Strait had nowhere to go. He hit me right in the door, and I knew as soon as he hit me that I had problems. And I keyed up the radio and told the guys that I think I broke my ankles. And so it's a pretty wild story, but they got me out of the car, and we're not really used to seeing probably these kind of injuries. And they called a military helicopter that was out flying, on a mission or something. I don't know how it worked, but they landed a helicopter in the infield and put me on that helicopter and took me to Madison General in that helicopter. And just so happened that Eric and Beth Hayden, the Olympic figure skaters' father, was my surgeon on that Sunday afternoon late. And he fixed me up. The next morning he comes in and he starts telling me about, my injuries, and told me, I told him that, I'm going to race in 30 days at Cayuga, Canada. So I'm really fortunate. I have this time off to heal. And he says, you won't race again this year. And I said, no, I'm racing in 30 days. And so, I came back for my 2-week checkup, and he puts me up, my foot up there, and he cuts the cast off, and he says, stand up. And I said, oh, no, you put a cast back on it. I got a hand clutch, and I'm going right foot brake. And he said, no, you'll heal faster out of the cast. Now walk out of here. And it was crazy. But, he got it. He said, you'll heal faster, and I was scared to death, but I walked out of there, and I still wore a boot when I raced, but I used that hand clutch, and I right foot braked. So anyway, that's the story, but they came up with what they call the Mark Martin bar, and some say that they still call it that bar, in the late model racing, but there was no bar really from the front hoop down bar going into to the front snout. There was no protection. It just went in there and just slapped my feet. Actually, I think the clutch pedal, was bolted to the sheet metal, and I think it just flopped up there and banged my feet and broke my left foot in 4 places, ankle and foot in 4 places. So it was a little setback, but I got more stories. If you want to hear a story about that, I was still in the hospital recovering, and John McCarnes called. And he said, Mark, in a couple weeks, we got, a race at La Crosse, and we want to put Darrell Waltrip in your car. And, I'm 21 years old and running a race team for a living with no sponsor, doing it off the purse money. Of course, I got all products free. I didn't have to buy a whole lot of stuff, but anyway, so I said, all right, but I get 100% of the money, and we're going to break the track record, and that's $100, and we're going to win the race. And he said, okay, and that was our deal. So we took the car up there, and we broke the track record, and poor old Daryl didn't fit in that car at all. I had no idea he was that big, but he was uncomfortable. It was a 200-lapper, and Trickle got by him on a pit stop, and he had to pass Trickle on the racetrack to win the race, and we did. And there's pictures of me in a wheelchair with my foot stuck out, with Daryl and the trophy and everything. So that's my story.
Such great times, great stories. And we can't tell you how excited we are as Wisconsin race fans, and I'm one of them, to see you come back to Wisconsin Sunday afternoon, May 4th. You're there at 11 o'clock signing autographs. The ASA Midwest Tour season kicks off on Sunday, May 4th in the Joe Shear Classic, and Mark Martin's Valvoline number 6 Ford Taurus will be sitting there with you to make sure you take pictures with the car and get a chance to say hi to Mark Martin. We can't wait to see you. Thanks so much for your time tonight here on the Bullring, Mark.
Good to be with you.
They said I wouldn't make it without a college degree.
They said only a man could be a roofing executive.
They said a former addict always relapses.
They said my amputation would keep me out of roofing.
They said never give an ex-convict a second chance.
They said I could never be a leader.
They said I couldn't support my family as a single mom.
At Rackley, we say they're wrong.
Want to change the world? Change it, one roof at a time.
Five-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
NASCAR is returning to the historic Rockingham Speedway for 2 days of racing you don't want to miss. Friday, April 18th, the Black's Tire 200. See the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in person. Then a doubleheader on Saturday, April 19th. First, Arca Menard Series East. And then the North Carolina Education Lottery 250 presented by Black's Tire. Witness Casey Kane make his big return as he races in the Xfinity Series. Be at the only NASCAR Races Easter weekend. Buy your tickets now at racetherock.com.
Welcome back to the Bullring on Racing America and Track TV. I'm your host, Jim Tretow. We're joined now by a driver who's setting some records. She became the first female winner of the car's Pro Late Model Stock Tour, but I've seen her stamp on the gas for a long time, since those Tulsa shootout days. We welcome in Jade Avedisian. Jade, thanks for joining us here on the Bullring, and it's exciting to know you've already got a win in this stock car stuff this year. That's so much the focus in 2025. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk to you guys tonight. But, yeah, so far it's been, a good start to our season. We're still early into the year, but, like I said, we're off to a solid start. So, we'll just keep building on it all year long and, get as many wins as we can.
With your background, as often as you got the chance to race, you did so. How much did it help you racing in the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing to start this year, racing a Pro Late Model and getting a chance to get some reps in night upon night, not just waiting for the weekend?
Yeah, it was a huge week for me. I feel like that was, such a big help, especially, having the start of the, year. I think we ran like 6 races. So, it kind of reminded me of, a lot of dirt, a lot of back-to-back days, which, it was fantastic for me. Like I said, I needed that to, start my year off. It'd be one thing to, have that at the end of the year, which would be okay, but I feel like if it was at the end of the year, it'd be like, kind of like, okay, let's go see what you got. But, to have it at the start of the year, I just got a ton of laps, and realistically, that's just what I needed for the start of the year. So I feel like, able to, finish all the races and get all the laps that week kind of, set me up for, hopefully a good start, and so far it has been. But, that was definitely a big week for me. A lot of learning into that week, but it was definitely good to, get all those laps and get my lap count up as well.
If you don't mind, I'd like to go back a few years, Jade, and talk about just 2 years ago. You were racing for an Extreme Outlaw Midget Championship, getting some other midget starts on the dirt. You won that championship over the course of the season, but that seems like it was a long time ago, doesn't it, knowing all the opportunities you've had since. Tell us what you have all been involved in and gotten a chance to race between then and now.
Yeah, winning that championship feels like it was 10 years ago, honestly. But yeah, it was in 2023, so it wasn't long ago. But a lot has changed for me. From my day-to-day to, my career standpoint, a lot has changed since, 2 years ago. But, last year I ran, some road course stuff in the Jade Avedisian, schedule. I ran that full time. That was like 7 weekends, 14 races. And then, alongside of that, I still ran a lot of dirt stuff last year. I was kind of out of, most of it, start of the season and end of the season, just because of, injuries. But, that was obviously on my schedule. And then, into last year, I had, my first 2 late model starts. And then, that kind of just rolled into this year. So, like I said, though, a lot has changed from, 2023. Obviously 2023, I was, just strictly focused on dirt, and, realistically a little bit last year, but, now it's all changed, and, now my focus is all in the pavement world.
How different was that to make that almost a clean break in reality that you are going road racing every weekend? You're not going to hang out with your friends at the dirt track you grew up with, and you're not able to hang out with your buddies and say, hey, wait a minute, where are we going for eating? No, it's sort of like, can I see you guys next month when I get a chance to take a day off and come by? I mean, that has to be a big difference. Not only just the racing discipline, but just the people you're surrounding yourself with now, I'm guessing in Charlotte, right?
Yeah, so I relocated to Mooresville the beginning of 2023, just because, TRD, TPC, the Sims out here, everything's kind of out here. The team, obviously, Wilson's out here now. So it was just, what I kind of needed to do. And, I was, grateful that my family was able to kind of move out here before I was 18 and just get me kind of acclimated to the area. And, obviously this is kind of my plan to stay out here for, as long as I'm racing. But, it's been, great so far, going into TBC and, every day the Toyota Performance Center has been great. It gets me all ready for the weekends and, my, whole year to come.
So for those who are watching the Bullring and are not familiar with the Toyota Performance Center, it really is about human performance, whether it be that heat room you have to work out in 120-degree heat, or whether it be the weights or what they tell you to work on muscle groups and then say, oh, by the way, you have to eat cauliflower this many times a day, and it's down to the diet and everything that goes with it. I'm thinking there's probably some psychology going on there as well, saying this is the mindset you need to be in when this is your go time. That's got to be a lot to take in, but also probably pretty exciting to be part of.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to be, part of, TRD, TPC. Day to day, they have a great group at the Performance Center from, like you were saying, the heat rooms. I actually just did that today. It's extremely hot in there, but it gets you ready for the racetrack, obviously. And, the stock cars are so much hotter than, anything that I did on dirt. I don't even really, I sweated on dirt, but, the races are so short that, and you're in an open cockpit basically, that you don't really have to worry about it. So, they have a lot of resources there from, the gym, as many days a week as you can get in there. And, they even have a nutritionist to make sure you're eating well on top of that. And, so many other benefits. So, to be, part of that and, be there on a day-to-day basis definitely has, had a huge help on my career so far.
Jade, what will you be racing most or full-time in a series points schedule here in 2025?
So I'm not running for any championship. I just have about 30 pro late model races with Donnie Wilson and their team. And we're just going to race, whatever race is on the schedule for that weekend. So, any kind of series I've done, Carolina Pro, obviously the Speed Week down in New Smyrna this year, and then the Cars Tour event. So, coming into, the end of this month and next month, I think we have 2 Cars Tour races. So, Orange County, North Wilkesboro, and then we go to Nashville in the 3rd. I'm not sure what series that is, but, we're just kind of hopping around and, just doing as many races as we can.
An outlaw in pro late model racing. Jade, I don't think you'd ever want to be called that, but now you are. You're literally an outlaw when it comes to racing pro late model shows. Doesn't matter what it is. The old guys back in the day, Rick Ferkel with the Outlaws, would be like, how much does that pay? I got to get there for that big race. It's so cool to see you have that diverse schedule. Jade, I've had a chance to see you at several ASA Stars races, hanging out in the pits, not driving with the Donnie Wilson Motorsports team. What have you learned there? What's your takeaways going to a track and not racing on a given weekend?
Yeah, it's definitely hard to watch, especially when I'm not racing. I'm not usually used to that because I'm always racing, but it's definitely good that I go. I try to, learn as much as I can. Obviously, I'm, very new to this, and especially the super program. I've never been in a super, and, that's obviously what I want to do, coming up soon. So, it's just good to, go there and, watch with my team, and obviously Bond's there as well. So, if I have any questions throughout the week while I'm watching, he's always there to answer them. So, it's just better than, sitting at home, watching on TV. At least I'm there at the racetrack, communicating with my team, even though I'm not the driver, but I'm still around. I still have a radio on so I can hear, all the drivers, how they, come back with their feedback over the radio, and there's 3 drivers on the super program, so just different opinions. I like to hear how people communicate. I've been to a few, and I think it's a big help.
Jade, with as busy as your schedule is, where can we follow you on social to know where you're going to be racing and hopefully pack those grandstands and watch you win another one?
Yeah, I'm just Jade Avedisian on most platforms. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, or X now, and Facebook.
It's so great to have you on the show. We hope to have you back on again. If you win, just say, okay, Jim's going to call me, right? Guaranteed we want to have you back on the show. Success is coming soon again for you. Thanks for joining us here on the Bullring tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on.
It's time to go around the horn on the Bullring. We're making one big stop for one big reason. It was the 51st running of the Thompson Icebreaker at Thompson Speedway in Connecticut. Let's check out the highlights.
Ladies and gentlemen, off turn number 4, the noise has begun. We are racing here for the Icebreaker event at the 5/8 mile Thompson Speedway.
And our pole sitter is able to jump out to the lead going into turn 1. Jake Johnson will lead him down the backstretch with Anthony Nocella giving chase in the number 92. And then the World Series winner last year in the number 79, John McKennedy, trying to stay within striking distance.
John McKennedy knows this track like the back of his hand. Out in front, it is car number 15. How ironic that his sponsor, Propane Plus, is on the race car. Meanwhile, look at Kopsik. He puts it in at a ton. We're talking about the black and silver number 1 car. Kopsik is the only car, Pete, to run on the bottom, lead change, lap number 2, 2 different leaders.
Yeah, we'll throw a blanket over the top 4 as they head into turn number 3. Here's Nocella trying to inch in front of Johnson. They're side by side out of turn 4.
Nocella is a man who has been able to get to the front wherever he runs. He knows how to be patient with tires. Look at Jake Johnson. Little cat and mouse action like that old Tom and Jerry cartoon. He has moved into the 3rd position. Bumper tag. Now pulling out a line. Bottom shot move. That was what they call the old slide move. No touch, no foul, no game. Leader still remains Nocella by inches. Will Kopsik have enough getty up? Here they come off turn 4.
He can make that work in the early stages of the race because the tires are still pretty fresh. Make that car stick to the bottom like that. Might not be able to make a pass like that later in the race, but to Kopsik's advantage, yeah, Silk is coming for sure. He's tracked down those front runners. He's going after Nocella right now. We'll watch as he drives into turn 3, able to pick up a length and a half at least, almost up to the back bumper of Anthony Nocella. We're getting set for a battle for second.
We certainly are. The margin between Ronnie Silk and the leader is starting to come down. 0.587. You're watching down the back straightaway. Nacella runs up a lane. Inside lane opens up. Here comes Ronnie Silk. Plants the car to the bottom of the racetrack. Will he wash up or keep it to the bottom? Drifts up just a bit. Nacella and Silk, the dynamic duo, like two superheroes. But here comes Silk. He is now in second. Not a threat as yet, but he's getting closer and closer. This is not a game of chance. It's now a game of skill. Here he goes. Bottom shot move.
Yeah, and he makes it work, too, as he gets around the inside of Kopsick, and we have a new leader across the stripe. It is Ron Silk to the front in the number 16 with 43 laps to go.
4 different leaders in the event. Trouble now off turn number 4. It looks like the Kenny Berry machine and Dave Zapienza. First caution of the event comes out. Started his racing career. We're looking at it now in replay. Zapienza, red 36, top side of your screen. And all of a sudden, car number 8 goes around. Zapienza has no place to go. 4 different leaders, 33 laps. Here they compete off turn number 4. High, wide, and handsome in the outside lane. It is car number 16. Silk quickly moves into the number 1 spot. Look at that battle for third. Marcelo Rafano, he gets stuck in the outside lane. He drops back. All of a sudden, Steven Kopsick makes contact. They hit at a ton.
Yeah, Rafano off the pace after getting sort of pushed up the racetrack there in 1 and 2. Never got back on the throttle coming out of turn 2. And got caught up with Kopsick as Kopsick was coming on fast.
Pete Falcone as he brings them back to the green.
Little trouble on the inside of the green flag as the inside row just didn't go. In fact, the 55 of Teddy Hodgkin got jumbled out just a little bit, but everybody was able to keep going. Could have been disaster there as they head down the backstretch and Silk back in the lead.
We've got literally a gaggle of cars that is trying to hunt down Silk. The hot spot on the racetrack now suddenly becomes the battle for position number 3. The shakers that are coming to the front of the field. Oh, we've got a caution. It is car number 3 that goes around. Tyler Ripkema goes spinning off turn number 4. This is the second caution of the event. Excuse me, third caution of the event. We haven't even talked about Eric Goodale. He's up into the top 5 as well. Here we go. Green, 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 and they are racing. Bottom of turn number 2, working their magic. Side-by-side bid. Beers. On the outside, Jake Johnson. Come off the turn in formation. Johnson gets some good bite. He moves back on the podium in position number 3.
Yeah, I think Beers decided to give up the fight rather than leave that top open because Emmerling was coming in that number 1, and he still is.
White flag is out, and we're driving with and watching with the number 16. Ronnie Silk will take down the win. 3 cautions and 4 leader.
That's the field. They are looking for the green on the front straightaway. We're going racing. Away and running in turns 1 and 2. Garrett Hall with the fender up on the inside, but Derek Griffith not letting him get away easy. He comes back at him in turns 3 and 4. Too close to call at the line on lap number 1. Derek Griffith, even though we're early, wants to capitalize on any opportunity he can get. Hall pulls away by half a car length. Griffith sees the writing on the wall, swaps lanes out of 3 and 4. He'll try the inside. Nice move by the 12G of Derek Griffith, and he takes the lead in turns 1 and 2. McDonald has a wheel inside Hall off of turn number 2. Eddie McDonald going for it in the Hancock Lumber number 17. Scarborough Mains Garrett Hall trying to hold him off, had him by half a car length. They touched a little heading into turn 1. Lap car coming up ahead as well, closing in on the slower car of J.P. Yesias. And behind him, Trevor Sanborn starting to reel him in, looking to make it a 3-car battle. Hang on off of turn 4. Looking to knife their way around the 24, and it's the inside that's going to go. McDonald sets the pick and goes to second. Trevor Sanborn says, thank you very much in the 44 and heads to the 3rd spot. Closing in on the slower car entering turn number 1. Garrett Hall to the inside. Oh, look out! Garrett Hall squeezes to the inside. Shaw has to back out of it, and that's going to put him back into the clutches of Corey Casagrande. DJ Shaw worked and worked and worked to get to the back bumper of Garrett Hall, and it all comes undone in one corner. Derek Griffith is going to make him do it the hard way, though. And at Thompson, the hard way to do it is on the inside groove. Here comes McDonald on the bottom. McDonald to the inside, trying to keep any piece of that race car beneath him. Has the fender down low, but Derek Griffith with the runoff of turn 2 holds him off. 25 laps to go. Here comes McDonald again out of turn 4. Derek Griffith by a radiator cap at the stripe, but McDonald trying to put the slide job on him. He gets it done off of turn 2. Move Eddie McDonald to the point in the 17. DJ Shaw trying to flex some muscle in the 60. Trouble in turn 2. Eddie McDonald is in the wall. Eddie McDonald, your leader, is in the wall off of turn 2. Yellow is out. Going to get a look here on our replay. Yeah, and either a flat tire or something broke, because between turns 1 and 2, that car just went straight into the wall. Here they come to the line. Green flag is out. Door to door they go. Look out! There goes Griffith in turn 2. Griffith in the wall. Griffith around, hits the wall, and the yellow is back out. Two straight laps. The leader pounds the wall in turn number 2. Lordy, lordy, lord. Hall on the outside. Picking it up down the straightaway. Green flag. Into turns 1 and 2. Sanborn wiggles a bit, but holds on and takes it. Here comes Casagrande down the back straightaway. Corey Casagrande shoots the gap, is up to the number 2 spot as they get 10 laps to go. Sideways off of 4. DJ Shaw up the inside from 5th to 2nd. What a move by the reigning champion to pick up the number 2 spot. Shaw tries to make one more run, but here they come to the checkered flag. Your icebreaker winner is going to be Trevor Sanborn in the 44. DJ Shaw in 2nd, then Casagrande, Garrett Hall, Brandon Varney, and Ryan Kuhn.
We like to cover all forms of racing. Look forward to seeing you at a Bullring real soon. We want to thank our guests for joining us here on the Bullring: Jade Avedisian, Cole Butcher, George Phillips, and Mark Martin, who I get to see when I call the races on Track TV. Mark Martin returning to Wisconsin for the ASA Midwest Tour opener, the Joe Shear Classic. I'm Jim Tretow. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you at a Bullring real soon. The Bullring's produced and hosted by Jim Tretow. Producer Kurt Schrader. Video editor Vincent Villarreal. Special thanks Bob Sargent and Marty Mello, Track Enterprises. Colin Smith with Racing America and Tony Stevens. The Bullring is an exclusive presentation produced by Track Enterprises in conjunction with Racing America.